Welcome to the CrossFit Max podcast.
Welcome back, team. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Today, we are diving into more of the training principles, the workout philosophies that we follow inside our gym. Hopefully, we don't get too technical for you guys and you enjoy this episode. This stuff gets me super excited. If you don't mind leaving us a rating and a review, it really helps get our message out to more people. Also, if you guys want to hear some things on the podcast, please feel free to shoot us a DM. We are always open to suggestions. All right, let's get right to it. We are in episode 7. Welcome back.
Hey guys,
My name's Brandon.
I'm Susie. We own CrossFit Max, and we're here to deliver episode 7 of the CrossFit Max podcast.
It is lucky number 7, so this is going to be our best podcast yet. What?
That's a lot of pressure going into this, so let's just try and be good.
All right. Not great, but good.
Better than bad.
What is the quote? You'd rather have many good days than one great day?
Is that a quote? I don't like that quote. That does not represent us.
Every day is a great day now.
Yes.
Okay.
No room for mediocre.
We're talking training philosophies and pillars and all the good stuff, training that excites me the most. But before we get into the good, juicy part of the podcast,
it's banter time.
Banter time. So yesterday we hit a personal record, a PR for the gym, for CrossFit Max, where we had 52 members come to the gym to work out in the group/open gym.
That's crazy. In one day, we had 52 people attend CrossFit Max.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. Because a few months ago, I would have dreamed of just having 50 members, period. Not even just come in one day. But
yeah, that's really impressive.
So that was really, really cool. So banter topic for today, we have our CrossFit Max competition coming up on July 8th.
Turn up the heat.
Turn Up the Heat is a summer competition, male and female teams of 2.
All levels?
All levels. It's going to be really fun. I'm enjoying, well, I actually already programmed and I'm slowly releasing the events to people.
I'm excited to participate in the competition.
So what is something, Susie, that you are hoping to see in the competition? Because I don't think I've shown you the workouts. You've only seen the 2. Did I show you the workouts?
I don't remember. So even if you did, I don't remember what they were.
So far, I've posted 2 events of the 6 events that day. What are you hoping to see? Or maybe you've already seen out of the 2 that I've already shared to the world. Okay. What are you hoping to see in there?
Great question.
What do you want to show off as your skills?
Okay. Perfect. Chance to humble brag. Love it.
Here is your platform.
In high school, I won biggest ego in the yearbook in grade 11. So
wow.
Any chance to really gloat is a great opportunity for me. So I'm hoping to see running because I like running and I feel like I'm good at running compared to the average CrossFitter. Mm-hmm. And I like toes to bar a lot. And I feel like that is a movement I excel at. So anything that has lots of running, lots of toes to bar, like a lot of toes to bar, like an annoying amount that other people would roll their eyes at. That's what I would like. As far as other movements go, I'm a pretty big fan of the wall ball, especially because most people don't like wall balls. So I just like get this extra joy out of liking them.
Okay.
Those are my top 3 CrossFit movements.
So running, toes to bar, and wall balls.
Yes.
Oh,
if we get to have all 3 in one workout, that'd be perfect.
Okay.
As my husband, is there like any way we can make that happen, or?
Well, I have posted a workout.
Yeah.
I've posted one of the workouts that actually has toes to bar. It's unfortunately not an annoying amount.
Yeah.
So the workout.
Do better.
It is
just kidding.
An AMRAP of 10 minutes where it's you go, I go. So your partner does the full round while you're off to the sideline waiting.
Yes.
They have 4 snatches at 65 for the women, 95 for the men, 6 lateral burpees over the bar, and then 8 toes to bar. So I have a feeling later in the workout it might start to add up the toes to bar, but
eight is a very conservative amount.
Yeah, it's not an annoying amount, that's for sure.
It's not an annoying amount, although it does make it more accessible for more people, which is the point of the competition. Like, it's supposed to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But if I wanted to win the event, something like 20, 30 toes to bar would have been great.
Yeah, sorry. But there will be running, and there
Love
will be
it.
wall balls, and both those movements are in one of the events together.
Excellent. So now, no pressure, Susie. I need to excel in this event because I've now claimed that I'm good at these things.
Yeah, I really enjoy doing events here. This will be our first like competition, but in the past, our first event we did, we obviously had our opening, which was cool,
the breast
but we had our breast cancer
fundraiser.
fundraiser, which was really, really epic.
Back in October.
Yeah. We raised nearly $2,000.
Which is actually insane because we had only been open. Like, the gym was open for 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
I'm
an epic
so
event.
excited to redo like a fundraiser this year and hopefully raise even more money. Like, now that we have like a crazy amount of members who actually attend the gym.
Yeah.
We have people to ask for donations.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. So
I think we were like
cool.
40 something people, I believe, that day. Anyways, it was really, really epic. We had like 40 something people show up.
I remember thinking it was like mind blowing how many people were inside the gym because again, we had only been open for 2 months at the time.
Yeah. So that was our first event. And then since then, throughout the winter, we had our
Neon WODs,
which were epic.
Fan favorites.
We had Frank, aka DJ Navidad, come in and do like a live DJ set late at night while it was dark in the gym. We got some cool...
Well, it was during winter, so it wasn't that late. It was like 6 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way you said late at night, I don't want people to think we're like busting out a workout at like 11 p.m. or something. Well, it wasn't that late, guys. It was like 6 p.m. It was like evening.
Yeah, it was dark in the gym. You're right.
Early evening.
Right. 6 p.m. on a Friday.
Yeah.
Everyone
wears like bright highlighter colors. We had glow sticks and cool lighting throughout the gym. An epic set by DJ Navidad.
Yeah.
And a super fun workout. Those were insane. The only good thing about the fall and winter coming next year are the bringing back of the Neon WODs.
Yeah, those are a lot of fun. But I would like to plan one more event. We're in the talks of maybe doing one more community event of some sort. So
stay tuned. Yeah. Open to everyone. Definitely in the next couple of weeks. So maybe even we will have announced it by the time this episode is live.
Oh, snap.
No pressure.
We'll have to get out the fine details. But yeah, anyways, enough of the events.
Lots of events to come, including our competition on July 8th, open to all. So hit us up if you are interested.
Yeah, grab a partner.
Are you going to be competing?
Probably not.
Okay.
Depending.
I can't really ask you what you want to see because you wrote the workouts.
Yeah, I did it in a way that I wrote it in a non-biased way because I plan to not do the competition. I plan to just host and try to organize it as best as possible. But I do know that there are a decent amount of female athletes that are looking for male partners.
Boys,
and I would absolutely,
if you're out there.
I would absolutely hate for them to not be able to participate. So I'll throw myself into the mix if someone needs me. So
Gotcha.
I'd rather them compete and have fun doing it instead of me just standing there and not allowing them to. I would hate that.
We can tag team.
But that being said, the event that I just posted this week of the clean and jerk complex, that would be my jam.
That sounds like your jam.
Yeah.
Brandon is epic Olympic lifting skills.
I wouldn't say epic, but I do enjoy the clean for sure. It's my favorite movement.
He's being humble. As someone who's not so humble, let me tell you, he's epic.
Thanks, love. Buttering me up here.
I got you.
I love it. I'm going to go lift some weight now.
Well, wait, we got a podcast. We got something to talk about today, too.
Okay, so we want to fill the people in on what kind of our training principles are.
Yeah.
What are we doing inside here when we're working out? What does a CrossFit Max workout look like?
Yeah.
What are the things that I program the workouts around and all that jazz? And there's really three main principles that we kind of, maybe not principles, but more concepts that we structure most of our workouts around. Do you want to tell them what the first one is?
Yeah.
Probably, if anyone is listening to this, they probably know what CrossFit is, so it's probably the most obvious thing, but fill them in.
Well, our first primary, I don't know, what are we like? What are these things? Principles?
Yeah, principles, yeah. Pillars.
Primary pillars is functional training.
Yeah,
functional movements.
Yeah, doing functional movements for sure. So movements that we don't just use inside the gym, things that we do outside the gym, things like learning how to pick things up, squatting, learning how to carry grocery bags around, learning how to play with your kids, feeling capable of going up and down stairs without feeling like you're not going to be able to make it up there.
Right. So these are like things that we learn inside the gym that can be applied to our everyday life.
Exactly.
Deadlifting,
pressing,
squatting, as you said,
push-ups, burpees, sit-ups. Yeah. All the fun stuff that we don't even think that we do outside the gym. So that's training principle number one, is for sure we primarily focus most of our training around functional movements. And training principle number two that we probably put a massive emphasis on is metabolic conditioning. Right. So in short form, when you walk into the gym, you'll always see like what we call a Metcon on the board. So this is just our body's ability to tap into our energy systems, our body's ability to be able to bring oxygen throughout our body, to be able to use nutrients, macronutrients, carbs, and fats, for our body to tap into our ATP, for our body to essentially...
ATP?
Just our energy source.
Okay.
Yeah. So for our body to be able to move at a maybe higher intensity while weightlifting, while doing gymnastics, while doing cardiovascular movements like running or rowing or biking, skiing. So Metcons is definitely something that we put a big focus on in our gym, and we have a Metcon in every single day.
Right.
Yeah. And the third philosophy that we follow in our program here is really focusing on strength training.
Nice. And how
working the booty gains.
I love me some booty gains. How is strength training different than functional movements? What's different about that?
So the functional movements are essentially the movements that we choose to use in our program. So for example, you being able to squat, you being able to bend over properly while keeping a good back position.
Right.
Learning how to pull yourself, or maybe let's just say do a push-up.
Okay.
Strength training comes where now we're going to start adding load. We're going to start challenging our body, whether that's with tempo, whether that's with weightlifting, whether that's with a barbell or dumbbells or body weight.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that does make sense. Thank you. I'm learning as we're recording this podcast. So strength training is more like increasing the load or the resistance to build strength.
Exactly. Yeah. Build muscle.
And functional movements is more just like the style of movement or the concept around our movement. So like hinging mechanics or squatting mechanics or pulling and pushing mechanics, and just things that we are actually going to encounter in our everyday life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So let's do like a quick, I feel like I'm kind of learning as we're going on the fly here because, we're queen and king of not planning our podcast. But let's just do like a quick recap of what this all means. So if you were to join CrossFit Max, if you were going to walk into our gym and you wanted to be part of our community, when it comes to our training philosophy and what people can expect to see in a workout, they can expect to see some sort of strength component, which is what we talked about, some sort of metabolic conditioning, the Metcon as we coin it at CrossFit.
Something that's going to get you sweating and breathing.
And all of that is kind of falls under this understanding that all of our movements are going to be functional movements.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of like the big umbrella is CrossFit Max. The small umbrella is the functional movements. And then under functional movements, we have two baby umbrellas, which is the metabolic conditioning and the strength training.
So many umbrellas.
Are you following? Does everyone see the pyramid? At the top of the pyramid is CrossFit Max. The next point down is functional movements.
Yeah.
And then the next two things are metabolic conditioning and strength training.
Exactly, yeah.
So when you join our gym, you're going to be doing what kinds of things? What's like a typical day?
Yeah, so first thing first, when we get started in every single class, we always have a warm-up. And I feel like people
They love to forget the warm-up.
They've kind of pushed this warm-up off to the side, do a few little arm circles in the corner.
Your arm circles aren't doing shit, people. I'm just kidding.
So things that we heavily focus on in the warm-up is for sure making sure we're getting blood through all of our joints. Right, we need to get our core temperature up, and we definitely need to make sure we're getting our muscles activated. So if we are doing things like, let's use the squat, for example, we need to get our blood flowing through our lower body. So making sure we get on a bike, we need to get blood flowing through our knees. We got to get our ankles moving. We got to get our hips moving. We'll do things like glute activation exercises to make sure your glutes are fired up and ready to go. We'll make sure our quads are getting ready. So we'll do some sort of squatting prior.
Right.
So we always start with a warm-up
prepping the body.
That is a very specific warm-up to the actual workout of the day. Yeah, that's a good word, prep. I use that word all the time.
So you show up, you do your specific warm-up designed by your wonderful coach.
And then from there,
next up,
then we either dive into some sort of skill or strength piece. Skill pieces can be things like learning how to do, muscle ups, or learning how to do pull-ups. Yeah, gymnastic work. It could also be the higher skill movements with the barbell. So we do Olympic lifting in CrossFit. So the cleans, the snatches that we talked about earlier. So there is usually some sort of skill component at the beginning, or it could be a strength component. I would say it becomes more of a skill component for people who are less experienced.
Right.
And then it starts to become more of a strength component as you get further into your CrossFit.
Once you sort of like mastered how to do the movement, then you can start to really load the bar.
Yeah, exactly. So from there, you'll start to see movements like push press, or you'll start to see back squats or deadlifts or the progression we're on right now, which we've talked about.
Bulgarian split squats,
the movement that probably hits every energy system along while doing strength training.
And most importantly, builds the booty.
Builds that peach for sure.
Epic. And then once you've sort of done that strength skill component, whatever it may be on that day, that's where the Metcon comes in, right? Yeah. This is our sort of metabolic conditioning, our spicy piece, the part that your heart rate gets up.
Yeah. And this is super important. I would say probably more important than our strength component. It allows our body to really just tap into our energy systems. Like we need to be able to go through some sort of
stress, or
some sort of stress where our heart rate is elevated, where we need to be sweating a little bit more, where we're breathing a little bit heavier. So we will always see some sort of conditioning piece inside of our group class. And sometimes it varies. Sometimes they're shorter and more intense. Sometimes they're in the medium length. We're talking like, let's say 15 minutes. And then other days we only have a conditioning piece, or more like an aerobic endurance side of things, where it's
those are our cardio and cardio days, right?
Where the intensity is much lower. We're just focusing on moving at sometimes a lower heart rate.
For a longer period of time.
For a much longer period of time. So like 30 to 40 minutes, let's say.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah. They seem to be a good fan favorite at CrossFit Max.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Cool. And then Metcon's finished. We just walk right out the door. We go home.
And then for sure, we always have some stretching after class.
Yeah.
So let's say we did a lot of pull-ups in the class or a lot of ring rows. Well, we definitely need to stretch out those lats.
Yeah. Your future self will thank you if you take those extra 5 minutes to stretch at the end.
Exactly. So yeah, so that's typically what a day is. Now, when we're actually going through those sessions, there are certain like things that we really, really focus on. One of them being like full range of motion in our joints. So in order for us to use like functional movements, what allows it to be functional is that we're using like multiple parts of our body.
Right. And this is what you were teaching me about this week. You were teaching me about full range of motion and how it's really important to get the full range of motion of a movement in order to keep our joints healthy and working at their full capacity.
Yep. Yeah. So actually I just taught a class on the Bulgarian split squat, and now this is our 4th week on the progression. And it was really cool. I had a class of 10 people. Damn. And there was a few people that have now done multiple series on the Bulgarian split squat. And it started off with, if you don't know what the movement is, it's a single leg unilateral squat while you're holding dumbbells. So your back foot is on the bench and it's there for balance purposes, while your front foot essentially is doing this lunge looking squat. So in order for you to get that full range of motion, you got to bring that back knee down to the ground.
All the way to the ground.
And where people struggle, they like to say, oh, well, Coach B, you're 6 feet tall, so it's easy for you to bring your knee down to the ground. And luckily, I had Coach Sean in the class today, and I don't know how tall is
vertically challenged, let's say. Sean
is 5'4". No, he's shorter than that. 5'2".
5'2", maybe? I don't know. Sorry, Sean, if you're not 5'2", but he's not 6 feet. That's okay. For sure.
He jokes about it all the time. So,
we love Coach Sean.
And his knee was touching the ground every single repetition.
So all of your excuses are no longer valid. All of my 5 feet friends. Too bad, so sad.
So I will say this, that typically for most people today, we're getting their knee down to the ground, which is awesome. Now, especially the people who have been doing multiple weeks of this.
Right. They've got practice.
They've got practice now. And what I explained to them is that for a lot of people, their body goes into like this protection mode where they're weaker into that bottom position. So bringing that knee down to the ground puts their muscles and their joints in a weaker position, let's say.
Yeah.
Because we don't often get deep into those positions.
Right. So it's like super unfamiliar territory.
Super unfamiliar, super stressful, I guess, on the body. Mm-hmm. So the body is kind of limiting, like your mind is playing tricks on your body and it's telling your body, whoa, don't go down there. You're not going to be able to get up.
I feel like this makes me think of the phrase like use it or lose it. Like if you don't use the full range of motion, your body just like forgets how.
Exactly, yeah. And we also just like in this era, this time.
We're so sedentary.
Yeah. We sit very often, so our hips get tight, our hamstrings get tight, our ankles get tight. So getting down onto the ground in that position, your body kind of goes into this protection mode where it says like, hey, don't do that, And for most of the people, I just say, hey, go grab lighter dumbbells. And then, you put the 20s away and you grab 2 10-pound dumbbells, and all of a sudden your knee can get down to the ground, and then you could do 10 reps.
You didn't grow, your legs have not changed size.
Yeah.
It's just a question of,
So full range of motion is important. Even if you see like YouTube videos of people doing bodybuilding stuff, right, and you'll see like those half pull-ups, like you're just going to get super stiff in your lats. You're not getting a full stretch in your muscles.
The only one getting getting a workout in that situation is your ego, exactly, right? The only thing getting a workout when you're not doing a full range of motion, or you're not going and getting a full repetition, the only thing that you're benefiting is your ego.
Yeah.
You're not actually improving your overall
strength. I mean, your muscles are limited in their stretch position, so they're not getting as strong as they possibly could. You're now building stiffness in that muscle, so your mobility is going to start lacking. And at the end of the day, like, we're building strength, but we're also building like resilience in our body. We're trying to build healthy shoulders. We're trying to build healthy hips. We're trying to build a strong lower back. Whereas I guess the myth is that like, oh, weightlifting could be bad for my back, or it could be bad for my shoulders.
Yeah. How often do we have people come in like, I can't deadlift because I have back issues?
Yeah.
Well, actually, if you have back issues, you definitely need to be building strength in that area of your body. That's probably why you're having pain, because you're weak in that area. Mm-hmm. Obviously I'm not saying if you're experiencing pain, train that muscle really hard, but it is something to consider that maybe your back issues are because you don't train those areas of the body.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that when I'm programming here, like I program things based on like 12-week cycles. Mm-hmm. So I look in advance and be like, okay, like this is what I believe our members should be focusing on in the next 12 weeks. And then from there, we have some sort of progression that's going to lead them across. Whereas instead of just like randomly programming, okay, like today we're going to do a 1RM deadlift, and then it's like you don't touch deadlifts for 5 more weeks. And then it's like, all right, today we're going to retest our deadlift.
But that doesn't make sense.
We haven't trained our deadlift. Like we can't just test after 5 weeks of not doing deadlift and doing other things.
That's what I love about your programming. There's so much intelligence behind the setup. Now I know we're doing a Bulgarian split squat cycle. We're building strength in our glutes and our quads and all of those things.
All
you
the
can
good
just
areas.
imagine after the cycle how much stronger we're going to be when we maybe like touch a back squat again or something like that. So it feels very productive. It feels like a really safe way to build strength. And then what's really cool is after that 12-week cycle, you can notice a massive improvement and you can see the progression that you've made in 12 weeks because you're targeting exactly the right muscles at the right time.
Yep. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just, the strength stuff, but also we have Memorial Day Murph, which is like an international workout that we do on Memorial Day.
Really exciting.
It's a hero
Once this
workout,
podcast comes out, we will have done Murph already.
It's true, yeah. But that being said, like we've had 3 Murph preps already. So I've prepped the members for the volume that is required for you to do Murph. For those of you guys who don't know Murph is a hero workout. It's a 1 mile run followed by 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and then finishing with another mile run.
Yeah, that's a massive amount of volume. So
Tons
if you
of body weight volume.
haven't been exposed to any sort of volume in those movements prior, you're going to get totally wrecked, destroyed.
And I would say in the past, it's just like, hey, on Memorial Day, we're doing Murph. And there's been like no lead up to that, like no push up progressions, no pull-up volume, no high air squats, no like running. I've had years where I've just like gone out there for the first mile of Murph and it's my first time running of the year. So we've really put in like a progression.
Triggers my heart thinking about it.
So over the last like 4 weeks, we've done like progressions, or maybe even 5 weeks now, we've done progressions of different variations of Murph. So we've done workouts where we've done Cindy, where it's AMRAP 20 minutes of 5, 10, 15 of pull-up, push-up, squat. We've done, or this week we did a mile running as a buy-in to a workout so people can get familiar
people to the
running
distance.
to it. Yeah, and there was tons of people that were super nervous about it. They know that they're doing Murph because we've announced it, and they're nervous about, doing the 1 mile run. So we programmed it in a workout, and then
it's not scary anymore.
Yeah, and so many of them came back and they were so happy. They're like, wow, I ran the whole thing. Like I didn't stop once. I feel so much better for next week.
And that's because you've been programming throughout the last like month, tons of 200 and 400 meter runs in our workouts. This is not the first run of the year. We have built up the stamina and the strength in our legs. We've done all the functional training, all the metabolic conditioning and the strength training required to prep for that. And then they feel like superheroes when they come back. And now next week when they do, or a few days ago when they did, depending on when you're listening to the podcast, they actually do the mile run. There's no surprises.
Exactly. So yeah, so there's a lot of little nuggets that we just threw.
I feel like we went off on a really fun tangent, but I dig it.
But yeah, so you'll typically see functional movements at a higher intensity, which we call metcons. You're gonna be breathing heavy at certain points. You're gonna be sweating. You're gonna be focusing on developing skills and strength training and putting your body through, a hard effort to build strength in your body. Because I feel like building muscle tissue is super important. Not just building muscle tissue, but building strong, resilient joints.
Yeah.
Strong bones. Like these are all things that are going to help us stay as healthy as possible.
We're going to all live to like 150, guys.
Yeah. And
join our gym. You'll live forever.
And then within those classes, we heavily focus on a proper warm-up, because that is crucial for everything that's going to happen within that 60-minute session.
Always.
We really put a big emphasis on full range of motion. And then we also have a plan for 12-ish weeks.
The workouts aren't random.
They're not random. They're not the constantly random stuff that CrossFit used to have. Yeah.
Boom, mic drop. CrossFit Max.
Wow.
Killing the game. So much thought and sense put into all of our training philosophies.
And before we end the podcast, speaking
just like
about
that, Brandon's like, and I'm gonna cut Susie off before she says something silly.
Before we end the podcast, on this note
right
of creating progress and On our previous podcast, we talked about goal setting and how creating a time and a structure and creating a plan was super important.
Executing for success.
And being consistent. Well, our client of the week
Pew, 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 pew.
this week is...
Who's it gonna be?
Shout out to Vanessa. She has been killing it.
We love you, Vanessa.
Specifically wanted to shout her out on this podcast because she hired me to be her personal coach for the last couple months, and we set out a goal of getting her first pull-up in 6 weeks, and she tested her pull-up last week, 6 weeks technically after we started, and she got 10 in a row, which is so impressive.
That is crazy. To go from 0 pull-ups when she started working towards this goal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was very strong. She has a lot of strength. She didn't go from
Yeah.
0 strength, but she went
Yeah.
from 0 pull-ups to 10 pull-ups in 6 weeks. That's like mind-blowing. That's
Yeah.
an incredible amount of progress. And I know for a fact, after working out beside her the last few weeks where we've had high volume of pull-ups in the workouts, she has been destroying the workouts.
Yeah.
If you would have told me, like, looking at her, oh, by the way, like 2 months ago, she couldn't do a single pull-up, I would have never believed you.
Yeah, it's very impressive. She's been super dedicated. She's been training 4 or 5 times per week consistently since I think she's one of our first members.
Yeah, she's one of our OGs.
Yeah. She's also, she's just a wonderful
she's
person.
She's been training 4 or 5 times a week, but not only just the group classes, she hired you as personal trainer on the side to do extra work.
Yeah.
Because she has big ambitious goals, and I love that. She's been super dedicated. She's a joy to have around.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to hug her. You know, one of those people that you just see them and you just want to squeeze them. Maybe it's just me, but I just want to hug her all the time.
She's also very petite, and she's Italian.
Like the cutest, and she always has fabulous nails, but that's just like a side point.
Yeah, and she's also signed up for the competition with Matt.
Yay!
On July 8th.
Amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Vanessa, you have been crushing it. Keep crushing it. You inspire everybody around you in the group classes, and your overall attitude and approach to fitness is to be admired.
Hell yeah.
Mic drop.
Boom. All
Killed
right,
it.
guys. Thanks for tuning into this week's podcast. Hopefully it wasn't
We did go off on a few tangents, but I feel like a little bit of editing and everything's going to be just fine.
Great. They're going to get the masterpiece there. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll listen to you.
We're losing our minds.
We'll catch you guys on the next episode. Have an awesome rest of your day.
See ya.
Bye.